Good afternoon, all, and welcome to A Pace Be Polarizing. I'm John, aka JB3, and today we're going to talk about what's happening in Massachusetts right now. I'm going to tell you, I really can't figure it out because there's some cases going on in Massachusetts right now, some criminal cases. One with Karen Reed, one with Brian Walshe, one upcoming with Sandra Birchmore, and none of them make sense. There are investigations done in all three cases with several members of the same unit of the Mass State Police. And they all have very different outcomes at this point. One of them, the Sandra Birchmore case, had to be referred to the federal government to get a charge put in place because the troopers involved and the local police involved didn't find any evidence that there was a crime committed. But clearly there was, and now they're going to have to take that to trial. Then we have the Walshe case, where this gentleman has been accused of killing his wife and disposing of her body. The body has never been found. Now supposedly a ransom note, email, has been sent from Nigeria to let him know that that's where she is. But he Googled all sorts of things, and all those searches are going to be admissible in court as factual. Cell phone data that was captured is going to be admitted as factual. Move to Karen Reed. That case is about justice for two people. Justice for Karen Reed and justice for Officer John O'Keefe, who was killed. Some don't really know how. Others have a pretty good idea. But it wasn't by a car, which is what an accident reconstruction company has said. There is no way he was struck by a car or a vehicle. That's not what caused his death. So there's that causing a problem. Then we have those who believe that she absolutely did something that had killed John O'Keefe. The problem is that the judge in the O'Keefe case has really showed a clear bias to some evidence coming in, some not coming in. She made a ruling yesterday that an expert, and not really an expert, just someone with an opinion, can come in and testify as an expert. This is after she had said that no one other than a medical doctor can come in as an expert to testify about dog bites. And that's what this person is going to testify about, is dog bites. And actually, they're a dog behavioralist with just a certification, but nothing else. It's just their opinion about the dog that potentially had bitten John O'Keefe. The thing about John O'Keefe is that there's a whole piece going on with a guy, Aidan Kearney, also known as Turtle Boy, up in Massachusetts, who did some investigative journalism. And like him or not, follow him or not, his investigative journalism is pretty thorough. He has some very interesting tactics, I'll say that, but he is thorough. And he found evidence that doesn't support what the Commonwealth is saying about Karen Reed. And it's hard to watch the trial. I watched all that. I've watched it all in replay. I watched some of it live. Watched the hearings live and in replay as well. Watched different pundits on YouTube that talk about, some talk about documents, some talk about briefings, affidavits that have been submitted. Others talk about procedures. Others are talking about the case itself. And it's just a whole slew of information that comes in. Now, my thought on Karen Reed is that she is not guilty, 100% innocent of the charges. And I say this because of the numbers just don't add up. The reconstruction evidence says that John O'Keefe was not struck by a car. Yes, they were out drinking that the night of, but she dropped him off. Her cell phone data has her at his home about 20 miles away at the time he was supposedly killed. Can't really have that happen, because if she's attached to Wi-Fi at his home, how could she be in another place hitting him with her car? Also, the thing is that the vehicle that she was supposedly driving, she was driving at 26 miles per hour in a snowstorm in reverse, and managed to drive it without going off the road and calculating a strike against a man. And the thing about him, John O'Keefe, is that he has no injuries below the face. All his injuries are head and neck. If he was hit by a vehicle, he would have injuries to his torso, his knees, for sure, his hips. He had to hit by a bumper. He's about 6'2", is my understanding. So he would have been hit by something in the knee or thigh area. And if he was hit by a car going 24 miles an hour, you'd see that when he was hit, for sure. There was no real blood at the scene, but he had a major head wound from being hit by something. He had scratches and bites that look like they are from a dog. So not really sure how that can't be looked at. The judge in this case, Beverly Cannoni, has ruled time and time again for the Commonwealth without question, and has ruled against the defense without question. The thing I have with the prosecution is that they're not submitting affidavits. They're going up there to the podium and just speaking about things. In my understanding in trial court, you can't do that. If you're having a hearing to produce evidence that's going to be shared with both sides, you have to have an affidavit that says what you're going to argue that day to introduce it. If the affidavit isn't complete, you don't hear that argument. Yet, with the Commonwealth, they can go up and argue anything they want. They can say things are facts without even producing an affidavit. So what that says is they're not on the record. They're making claims without being able to substantiate it. And it's being put on the record as a fact in some cases, even though it hasn't been corroborated or it hasn't been submitted as such. So that's a problem for one, because it all should be tracked. It has to be in order for someone to receive a fair trial. And in this case, I believe that she is not receiving a fair trial. She is getting railroaded for some reason. What's going on up there, I don't know. Being from Massachusetts and not living there now, it's very interesting because the politics there have been sketchy for a long time. It's been really bad. And this case, in my opinion, is making the Whitey Bulger, John Connolly relationship look like a mere petty theft. They're trying to, they've worked a framework around this one woman. There was something that happened at a house. Police didn't go in the house because they were told by one of the people, oh, he didn't come in the house. If the front yard's a crime scene, the house has to be a crime scene as well. If he was dropped off and she said she saw him go in the house, and they're denying, it's a he said, she said, I know, but in that he said, she said, a good police investigation would rule out the fact he went in the house by going in the house and searching it. They never did that. That's a big problem for this whole case. Other problems for it is that a plow driver never saw anything out on their front lawn, meaning John O'Keefe's body. He never saw it, and he drove by it a couple of times, plowing snow. Another problem that they have is that there was no evidence found of a taillight, which supposedly he shattered when she hit him. Pretty hard to do for a person to shatter a light on a car. It's polycarbonate. Unless it's striking something really hard that's not going to have give to it. A human body has give. It's not really hard. It's not solid like another car. Then the odds of him breaking that, pretty slim. Especially shattering it is what they're saying. The crime scene itself, they had a CERT team come out and investigate the crime scene. Not a crime scene team, a CERT team. Search and rescue. Searching for a person. That's the team went out there. Not a crime scene team. That's another big issue. So where was the crime scene team? Why weren't they at the scene? Why is it that when the CERT team first searched the supposed crime scene, there was no taillight found, but they went back afterwards. This was after they'd blown snow away with leaf blowers. The first time, didn't find anything. They went back a second time after her vehicle had already been impounded, and then suddenly they found all these pieces of taillight. Their collection bags also are a problem. The state police and local police, the local police were told to recuse themselves because they were too close, because there are officers from their unit involved, potentially, in what happened. It was a police officer's residence that he was found at for Canton. So they were told to get out of the way and let Mass State Police handle it, which they should have, and they didn't. They confiscated a cell phone, which took them over a year to get back. But in the Walshe case, they confiscated the cell phone that day. They downloaded all the information they wanted and returned it to Walshe the very next day. So where's the consistency there? If the same people are doing the investigations, why are the investigations so inconsistent? At the Walshe case, the evidence was collected in such a way and put into actual evidence bags, things like that. In the Reed case, things were put into stop and shop bags and solo cups. No evidence bags were collected. No interviews were recorded in the Reed case, but all the interviews in the Walshe case were by the same people that were investigating the Reed case. Too many inconsistencies here. I have a problem with it because it's a double jeopardy piece too for Karen Reed, where the judge informed the jury they had to come back with all or none with the charges, and the jury told the foreman that they had come to a conclusion on 2 of them, and he refused to send that note to the judge. That's the one thing we haven't seen yet, is the note to the judge that when she declared a mistrial in Karen Reed, what was said on that note. It just said we're at an impasse that we know of, but is there more to it? And more evidence has been coming out through the defense that evidence was not actually provided to them until after the trial was done. They received stuff also on the eve of the trial. They had 2 years to get this information over to them, the Norfolk County DA's office, but they didn't provide it to until the day before the trial. That's a problem too, because there's just too many loose ends there that are saying that you didn't have your evidence, yet you're charging somebody and making sure that they go to trial. Anyway, I'll probably be touching upon this again as it goes on, as the second trial is due to start on April 1st, but that is also pending on a federal appeal that's already been put in for a habeas appeal that's been done. And the federal court actually took that argument on to review this case because there are so many inconsistencies with it. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens with Walshe, because that's coming up. With Sandra Birchmore, that's a terrible case. That one I'll get into more as well once that gets some more traction. That was a young woman who was in some sort of pioneers program while she was in high school with the local police department. One of the police officers had an inappropriate relationship with her throughout high school and then after, at which time afterwards he managed to get her pregnant. That's all been confirmed. And then he killed her. He went over there and made it look like she hung herself, which she didn't do. They've already confirmed that she was her hanging was not an accidental death, that it was an intentional. He's now been charged by a federal charge because the local police and Mass State Police cleared him of any wrongdoing, even though there were thousands, tens of thousands of text messages between the two of their relationship. So not really sure how that got away and how these others are going to get away with anything, but we'll see how that goes. So like I said, I'll be touching upon the Karen Reed case further. I'll be looking at the Walshe case as well, and I'll be giving my 2 cents on Birchmore. So if you could, hit the like and subscribe. Appreciate that. Anything to help my algorithm, comment if you will as well. What you liked, what you didn't like about this one. Feel free to email me. It's attached to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you again. Once again, it pays to be polarizing. Have a great day.